to be part of the State of Israel.
This is the Coaching Edge. I hope you are listening. I hope you are listening. Yes, I hope you are listening. So we're going to go to Pat Clark now with the feature, Jamaica Roots and Culture. Here goes.
Welcome to Jamaican Roots and Culture. I'm Pat Clark. Modern-day Jamaica consists of only 14 parishes, each one being unique with its own interesting historical background. The parishes are grouped into 3 counties: Cornwall, Middlesex, and Surrey. Have you ever wondered how some of these parishes got their names? We will tell you the story in our special series on the Jamaican parishes. The first parish under the microscope is Hanover. Jamaica's second smallest parish, Hanover, was established in 1725 and was named in honor of the reigning monarch on the British throne, George I, who was from the House of Hanover in Germany. Hanover's parish capital, Lucy, has been known by many names, and it stretches along the western side of a horseshoe-shaped bay, which is considered to be one of the island's safest ports. From the hills overlooking Lucy Harbour, one can observe an expansive panorama of the bay. Similarly, the view from the Dolphin Head Mountain provides an extensive vista of the other parishes in the western side of the island. Hanover sometimes does not get credit for its beauty and charm and is often overshadowed by the nearby tourist destination of Montego Bay. Nevertheless, it shares the Negril Strip with its southern neighbor Westmoreland, and many of the rich and famous tiptoe into the parish at Round Hill Hotel and the Trial Beach and Country Club, thinking that they're still in Montego Bay. Geographically, Hanover rounds off the northwestern tip of Jamaica. It lies to the west of St. James and to the north of Westmoreland. The capital, Lucy, is situated on a beautiful harbour 25 miles west of Montego Bay and midway between Montego Bay and Negril. Numerous caves, coves, and bays mark the coastline of Hanover. From Hanover, we move to the parish of Westmoreland. Colonists named this parish Westmoreland in 1703 after the English took over the island from Spanish rule in 1655. Historians say the parish received its name because it was the most westerly on the island. Savannah-la-Mar, the capital, was developed as a port from which sugar was exported and dates back to around 1730. The Spanish name Savannah-la-Mar means plain by the sea and refers to its environment. One of the first Spanish settlements was also built at present-day Bluefields in this parish. The parish of Westmoreland boasts rain-fed fertile soils well suited for sugar cane. The town of Frome, located some 5 miles away from Savannah-la-Mar, is one of the few remaining sugar factories in the country. In 1938, riots at the Frome Sugar Estate changed the course of Jamaica's history. In the wake of these riots, the legislature passed universal adult suffrage in 1944, as well as a new constitution, which was approved by the Crown. This act put Jamaica on the road to self-government and eventually independence. The fertility and lush vegetation of the parish is greatly maintained by the various rivers and streams that are important sources of water. The popular Great Morass found in the parish is a large swamp area which covers thousands of acres. The wetlands common to the parish of Westmoreland serve as a natural sanctuary to Jamaica's wildlife. As we exit the parish of Westmoreland, we enter St. James. St. James was one of the second group of parishes formed in Jamaica and is said to have been named by Sir Thomas Modiford in about 1655 for the Duke of York, who later became James II and was a reigning monarch at the time. It was, however, much larger at the time, as it included what are now the separate parishes of Trelawney and Hanover. Remains of Jamaica's original inhabitants, the Taino, have been located along the coastal area of St. James. These early natives are now affectionately referred to as Fairfield people in honor of a site near to Montego Bay where characteristic examples of their pottery have been found. One of the main roadways used by the early settlers from Orriston in Westmoreland to an area around the Martha Brae River also passes through this parish, and many legends have been handed down about supposed treasures left behind by Spaniards. After the English conquest of the island, St. James remained somewhat sparsely settled, as the interior was inhabited by the Maroons, of whom the settlers were terrified, and the parish was some distance from Spanish Town, the then seat of government. Additionally, the parish capital of Montego Bay was witness to the final act of slave uprising in the island prior to emancipation. Known as the Christmas Rebellion of 1831 to 32, it began at Kensington Estate and engulfed the entire western section of Jamaica. Led by Baptist preacher and leader Samuel Sharp, this rebellion provoked two detailed parliamentary inquiries, which arguably contributed to the 1833 abolition of slavery across the British Empire. St. Elizabeth is one of the oldest parishes in Jamaica. Originally including much of the western section of the island, it was split to form parts of Westmoreland and Manchester in 1703 and 1814 respectively. St. Elizabeth was named in honor of Lady Elizabeth Modiford, wife of Sir Thomas Modiford, Governor of Jamaica, between 1664 and 1671. Early settlement in St. Elizabeth began in the Pedro Plains, where the Tainos, the first known inhabitants of the island, occupied the coastline and led a simple life. Though the original Tainos died by the 17th century, persons of Taino descent from Suriname came to settle in the parish in the 18th century, and their descendants are there today. When the Spanish were defeated in 1655, the slaves who did not manage to flee to Cuba retreated to the impenetrable cockpit country, which included parts of St. Elizabeth. Those fleeing slaves became known as the Maroons, and today St. Elizabeth remains home to the Maroons of Accompong, one of the most famous Maroon towns in Jamaica. Residents of St. Elizabeth also played an instrumental role in the Sam Sharp Rebellion of 1831. It is documented that about 20 to 40% of the slave population fought in that uprising. This little town of Black River, now the parish capital, can boast its popularity in the 19th and early 20th century as a fishing spot, colorful balls and banquets often held at courthouse, and its annual circus that attracted visitors from far and wide. Black River, among the oldest towns in the island, is reportedly the first to have received electricity. The Leyden brothers were among the earliest settlers in the parish, and they were said to have imported Jamaica's first motor car. The final parish we'll look at in the county of Cornwall is Trelawney. Established in 1770, the parish was named after William Trelawney, former governor of Jamaica. Trelawney is bordered by the parishes of St. Anne in the east, St. James in the west, and St. Elizabeth and Manchester in the south. Most of the parish is flat, with wide plains such as Queen of Spain's Valley and Windsor. The highest point in the parish is Mount Eyre, which is 3,000 feet above sea level. Martha Brae was the first capital of the parish of Trelawney. Its history dates back to the days of the Spanish occupation and was supposedly the site of an old Spanish settlement. The town got its name from the Martha Brae River, which today is used for rafting and is a source of water for the north coast. Trelawney has pockets of rich culture indigenous to the parish. The southern section of Trelawney is a part of the cockpit country and is uninhabitable. It is therefore a natural reserve for flora and fauna. Most of Jamaica's 27 endemic bird species can be found there, along with the yellow snake and the giant swallowtail butterfly, the largest butterfly in the Western Hemisphere. And now, to end the Jamaican roots and culture, here is our famous quotation from the Black diaspora. Worldwide Black consciousness is a psychological reserve that can be that can be mobilized to achieve local ends as well as aid others as the liberation process continues. For Jamaican Roots and Culture, I'm Pat Clark.
Yeah, that was very comprehensive what the students them are listening. Yeah, very comprehensive. We love that. So